Oh, and thank you for subscribing to Infowars Tech. This is a channel where we explore new trends in technology, including machine learning, artificial intelligence, Python programming, network security, and similar topics. So today we are going to look at an open source security tool called Sherlock. It's a very powerful tool and it's used to search usernames across many social networks. Like I said, it's a command line tool, very powerful, but it comes with some ethical implications on how we should be using it. So it should be used responsibly and within the bounds of the law. It's also crucial to respect individual privacy and not to use this tool for malicious purposes. The goal of Sherlock is to help in legitimate research and investigation, not to infringe upon personal privacy. So having said that, it's a command line tool. It's available for all the major distributions, Mac OS, Linux, and Windows. So let's get started. Let's explore this tool. Like I said, it's a very powerful tool and very interesting to use as well. And I was pleasantly surprised to see the output of Sherlock and what it can collect from social media. So you can see I am on their website. It provides some details how you can go ahead and install it and who are the authors and similar information. And also in the second tab I have the GitHub page. So let's go back to my setup. So it's a CentOS 7 running as a VM. I have already gone ahead and installed Sherlock, so it should be in one of the directories there. So let me just switch there. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is to clone the repo, and the command to do that, which I can show here, it's to run this command, and that will go to GitHub and get a copy of that of Sherlock on your computer. Then we can go ahead and install it. Now we also do need to install Python 3, which is a requirement, and you also have to read the requirements document, which I can show you. It includes all the modules that you are required to. So let me just log in there. So you can see we have a few modules and libraries that are needed. So I just showed the command to also read the requirements.txt to help with the installation of Sherlock. So let's get started. Let's quickly take a look at the help for Sherlock. So this is the help, and you can see you can do a verbose, we can do a debug. It'll provide some additional information and metrics for debugging. You also have folder output and output, which will be sending the results of our search into a file, and I'll go through each one of them and explain the difference between folder output and output. You can also use Tor, and it can make requests over Tor. I haven't tested it as yet, but that's also available functionality. You can create in comma separated values. You can also create a file for to be read by Microsoft Excel. You can also specify or limit the analysis to just a particular website. Let's say you were searching and you just want to say just search in WordPress, so it'll just search for that particular parameters in that. So that's also a good flag that we can use. You can use a proxy. You can also read from a JSON file, and there's some not that useful options using the no color or printing and so on. So let's get started. And The first command that we want to run is just Sherlock searching for some name. So here I just came up with John von Neumann. As we know, he was a computer pioneer, a computer designer. The John von Neumann architecture, I think it's well known to all of us. So I just thought I'll use this. I don't expect to get any hits, as John von Neumann passed away in 1950s. So if somebody else has a name, I apologize in advance. So let me run this and see how Sherlock responds to this. So do note that I'm running this all on command line. It's a command line based application. So what it's doing is it's checking the username John von Neumann, and it was able to find it on all these sites. You can see Bitbucket, Chess, Code Academy. So it seems that there might be somebody with that name. So I could certainly try something else. Maybe I could try something like Turing or perhaps Einstein. If we get a hit, like I said, I'm just trying to bring up these giants from history, and don't expect many hits. So you can see already we have a few well-known websites here. I can see Kaggle, HackerOne. You have on GitHub. We also have MySpace, which I believe it's no more. So it was able to search across and get 56 results. Now let's retry this with let's say Turing, or let me call Alan Turing, another giant in computing. So I believe we might get more hits because it might be a common name. So maybe once this completes, I might come up with something totally made up, and we shouldn't get any hits then. So it's still running, it's searching. You can see again you have MySpace, Medium, quite a lot of well-known. I have TTT, you have Imgur, image website. So yeah, so this Alan Turing seems to be getting a lot of hits. Okay, so it returned 127 results. Let me try something very different. Let's come up with something. So really, you understand that I'm not searching for anybody. I'm just making up these names, and it's hitting. It's actually getting some hits in the social media. So let me pause while it's running and getting those results, and we'll be back once it completes. So that made up name really didn't get any hits. You can see just one result, but you get the idea that you can really use this tool to search across so many social media. Okay, let's try another one. So here we will search, and we will put that result in a Right now we've been displaying on the screen. In this case I'm searching for my own company InfoWorks, and I'm outputting into testoutput.txt. So let's run that. In this case it will run and it will display on the screen as well as save the results in testoutput.txt. So again, a very useful feature. So I'll pause while it's doing that search. Okay, so that completed and we got a result. We got 32 results. Okay, let's look at some other options, and before we do that, let's have a look at that file. Like I said, it should be here, testoutput.txt, and you can see that it saved all those results that we found in our documents for later use. So very useful feature. Okay, let's have another look. So in this case, what we are doing is we are using Sherlock to search on two different names, so John and Smith, right? So these are two different, let me call them let's say John Ford, right? And this can be Smithsonian. Okay, so basically John Ford and Smithsonian, they're two different names that we are searching for, or usernames. And when you're using the -fo folder output, what it will do is that it'll create separate folders for these two usernames. So let's hit search, and while it's doing that, I'm going to pause so that we come back once it's done those searching, and I'll show you that it's captured it in those separate folders. So very useful feature for sure, especially when, as we mentioned earlier on, the objective of Sherlock is to do research and researching, and this can help catalog this in different folders for later use. Okay, so that completed, and it took longer because remember we are searching two usernames. So let's have a look. So these should have been created in two different folders. So we have folder output, so let's go there. And as you can see, you have a johnford.txt and smithsonian.txt. So let's have a peek inside John Ford, and you'll see that this is what was displayed to us, and this is also captured in a file, which is very useful. And let's have a look at Smithsonian, and so the results of that search are also captured here, right? So like I said, very useful, especially if you're doing multiple searches. It can really help you to save all your research and investigation in separate folders. Okay, let's look at another example where we will create or do that search and we save it into a file which is in CSV format. So let me just go back to my home directory and let me run that command. So here we're searching again for John von Neumann, and we're indicating that we want the file that's created to be in CSV format. So let's run that. And before we do that, let me just show you that I don't have any file by that name. So I have a John von Neumann.txt, which was from our earlier search, but I don't have anything else here. So let's run that command, and let's see how that runs. Okay, let me just copy that command again. Okay, let's run that. And again, while it's doing that search, I'll just pause the video and come back once it's done the searching. Okay, so that completed, and let's go back, and you see that now we have a CSV file with the CSV format. So this search has now saved as a CSV file, and that's comma separated, and we can now view it in let's say Microsoft Excel or something similar, right? Okay, now let's have another look at what's called a verbose mode, and we'll see what that is. So let me just change it to something else. Let's run that. As you can see, we are actually getting some hits. And a little more detail, perhaps how long it's taking to search those, right? So that's the difference by adding that -v for verbose. Okay, again, let me just pause it while it's doing this search. So that completed 44 results, and you can see that we're also getting the time to do that search. So again, it's a if you're looking for additional information. Now let's have a look at another where we will be creating a file which can be read by Microsoft Excel. So you indicate that by adding Excel SX, which is the format for Microsoft Excel file. If I again use the Yellowstone Park and run that command, so let's wait a couple of minutes for it to search those results. I'll pause the video again. Okay, that completed as expected, and let's see if it created a file that can be consumed by Microsoft Excel. So you can see here you have Yellowstone Park in XLS format. When we didn't specify anything, it saved the results in a txt file, but we required it in Microsoft Excel format by specifying that XLX format. So we can verify that by opening it up in a Microsoft Excel. Okay, now let's move on to the other one that I mentioned, where we want to be specific about a site. We don't want Sherlock to search all the social media sites. We want to be looking for a certain username on a certain site. So as an example, here we are running sudo python3 Sherlock, looking for John von Neumann on WordPress. So let's run that and see if you're able to. Okay, so we did get a hit. Let me, instead of this name, let me try another one. So let's see that. So yeah, so you also have yellowstone.wordpress.park, and I believe we should also find it here as well. If we search for this, it should be in one of these searches as well. So in any case, the idea is that we want to specify that search for this username Yellowstone Park in this example on this WordPress site. That's it, nowhere else. Okay, let's look at another very powerful command, which is to, if you're searching for let me just put the command here. So let's say we're searching for John Smith, and we want to search for all the possible combinations. So let me change this to Yellowstone Park, right? So by specifying the curly bracket and the question mark, it's going to replace that with, let's say, a period, a dash, a hyphen, or any other character that can be used to create this username. So let's run that and let's see what we get. So first it's checking with the underscore. It found one. It got a hit on underscore. So this is very interesting that it'll cycle through all the different characters just by specifying that curly bracket question mark. Let me pause for a second while it's doing this searching. Okay, we're back. So the interesting thing to note here is that Sherlock first used an underscore. It got a few results, then it tried with a dash, it got some results, and then it tried with a dot and it got results. Now I'm not sure how many other characters it does use, but I'll do a little more research on that. But you can see it's very powerful. It was able to find so many variations or different ways that we could use this username, and found results. So it ended with a total of 15 results across yellow dot stone park, yellow dash stone park, and yellow underscore stone park. And again, so I really hope that you enjoyed this tool, and like I said in the beginning, it's a very powerful tool. It's command line, and it's available for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. But please use it for good purposes, like I'm showing you here. I've just used some fictitious names, and they did come up with some hits, but do not use this for malicious purposes. So thank you for joining, thank you for subscribing, and look forward to creating more content, more similar content. Take care. Bye.